These are my superpowers. This is where if I'm in the zone, I feel so excited, right? For me, when my entire day consists of enablement and galvanizing people towards something, towards a cause of some sort, I am in the zone and I get so freaking excited to see people, accomplish the task or the initiative or the project that I've put forth. My working competencies are the ones that, for the most part, I know that the book talks about the analogy of pouring water into a glass, if you will, that has a couple holes. And what I mean by that is for a while, it's gonna fill up the glass, right? If I'm doing something that's not my genius, it's gonna take energy, meaning it's gonna fill up, but then it's eventually still gonna leak out of the bottom if there's holes in it, which means that it'll eventually get to the point where I do get pretty tired and not as fulfilled when I'm in my working competencies. Versus if I'm working in my working competencies, I can just, get my glass here, fill it up, and I'm gonna feel really, really good the entire time because there aren't any holes at the very bottom that are taking and zapping a lot of my energy from it, right? From a fulfillment standpoint. However, a working competencies has a couple holes in the bottom, which means that the more that you're pouring into it, you're still gonna have a relatively full glass of water of joy. But then joy does get, eliminated when there are holes at the bottom in this glass example, which means that if I do work in my working competencies for a little too long, I am prone to getting pretty tired after quite a while. My working competencies happen to be tenacity and discernment, which means that for a while I can't make things happen and push things over the finish line. That does bring me a little bit of joy, and also being able to decipher, okay, my gut's telling me to go with this person for this role, or for this, to delegate this task to this individual because I feel like they can make it happen, or just based off of just this layout of different ideas. I don't know, my gut's telling me to go with that one, right? But after a while, it doesn't bring me as much joy as the first two. However, my last two here are the working frustrations, and those happen to be invention and wonderment. Now, when I tell you that brainstorming sessions on new ideas or learning new processes or just things that are not innately in my day-to-day, that in itself can zap so much of my joy. Meaning if I have to build out new messaging, or if I need to do a lot of just admin related work that is just not at all fulfilling, nor am I around a lot of people, being able to see them get to their goals and get to their targets, that right there is the most frustrating thing on the planet. Now, I'm not saying that every part of your role that you might be doing you're gonna love. I'm saying that identify what aspects, what tasks, what things that you have to do during your weeks that might be tapping into your working frustrations, and then make sure that you are building the perfect schedule for yourself so you're not constantly doing your working frustrations for extra long periods of the day, because then that's of course gonna tire you out, burn you out after a while. All right, hopefully that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. But one question that has come up quite a bit as I've explained, as I've galvanized this working genius towards my loved ones: how do you navigate parts of your job being in your working competencies or frustrations? That's an excellent question. So a couple of things that you can do, right? Like I just alluded to. Number one, if parts of your role, maybe not your entire role, are tapping into your working competencies or your working frustrations for the most part, I'd probably put those specific tasks during your peak energy levels part of your day. So for me, I'm usually the most wired and excited for my day in the morning. My favorite thing to do, and I started this new morning routine within the last couple months, is I'll usually do 15 minutes of walking. I'll drink some coffee. I'll open up my laptop at around 6:15, 6:30, and then I'll crank out some work. It is amazing just cranking out right in the zone because I'm fully energized, caffeinated, and I'll usually try to get out some admin tasks that are not necessarily the sexiest part of the job, but I'll try to get it done in the mornings because that's when my energy levels are probably at their fullest. Same thing goes for when it comes to building out new systems or processes or infrastructure for my team. I'll typically try to knock that out in the mornings before lunch because again, that's when my energy is probably at its best. And then I'll usually do my one-on-ones towards the second half of the day, because I know that if someone is right in front of me that needs my attention, regardless of how tired I am, I'm gonna do my best to bring my A game. However, when I've swapped that in the past and I've done my creative work or more of my admin related work that is tapped into my more working frustrations, I'll have a tendency to just kick the can down the road and procrastinate a little bit longer than needed, just because my energy tank is at zero at that point. So figure out what time of the day you work best and put those tasks that are more so your working competencies or frustrations around that time, just so you can knock it out. What do you do if you're entirely just working out of your working frustrations? Get another job. Kid you not. Why are you working 40 plus hours a week at something that you're gonna hate? Well, maybe you might be thinking, Bree, the thing that I wanna do and love and am passionate about isn't paying me right now. Well, cool, that's a valid thing. One of my cousins actually is in the same boat. She's a big fan of the arts, and currently her creative work isn't paying for the bills, respectfully. So she's having to obviously work and do something that isn't her love and brings her a lot of joy. So she does obviously her passion work, and she's trying to make it happen and get it, kicked off the ground. If you're like, I just don't know, where to even start. Like, I hate what I do right now, but I just don't know where to go next. Man, I mean, ChatGPT, these are all of my strengths. This is everything that I love to do. This is what I studied in the past that brought me a lot of joy, and form me the perfect 10 to 15 rules based off of a lot of these strengths that I've put together. I mean, utilize ChatGPT and see what kind of jobs might come up. Career, finder quizzes and so forth as well are usually helpful. Those would be my suggestions for you. And again, I would highly encourage you to check out the book. If you've got Spotify, I do believe that it's included in that. Hopefully you got a tip or two from today's video. Feel free to subscribe for more content, and I will catch you next time.